Alright folks, Petaluma Nemo here. We're back on the 90-gallon saltwater tank today. Just wanted to do a video on this today. Actually haven't finished cleaning up the glass, but still wanted to get this done here next. Cleaned up the rock, especially in the upper left side, upper half. Cleaned up the zoanthids that are just taking over the rocks. I cleaned up some of them in the water. I know it's a little toxic for the fish, but I did clean up some of them, and then I decided, you know, let me pull out some of those rocks, go clean them up in the sink, brush them off in fresh water. Oh well, you know, they're fun. Clean up the zoanthids that are just growing all over the rocks. And I decided to video this because I really like seeing the rock. Kind of crazy. The tank's pretty busy, so removing some of those overgrown zoanthids all over the rocks, the back returns, the glass, you know, it was just starting to get a little too much for me. So I'm starting to clean it up a little bit at a time. I'll have patches of it when I'm done. But, you know, I want to give it room for, you know, the mushrooms to grow. I'd much rather see those all over the rocks than those crazy zoanthids. Once they'll start, man, they just don't give up. Which is alright. I have no problem with that. But it was just time to kind of clean house a little bit today. So that's what we did. We didn't do any water changes today on the 90. I got my 135 behind me. That we'll probably do a video on. We've been having some difficulty with that tank. And I'll share that again later in a new video of the 135. And what things are happening there. We're adding some new fish on the 34 gallon today. We're just going to put some chromis in there, see how they do. We've been having a little bit of weirdness with the 34 and the 135 tank with die off, and so we're experimenting right now. I wish I was a chemist, because boy, I could maybe figure this out, maybe not, but been having problems over there. Thank God though, talking about the 90 gallon, it's been great. Fish have been with me for a long time. We don't add anything to this tank. I don't put corals in it. I don't put fish in it. I change the water, keep the glass clean. You know, try not to contaminate the tank with other tools from the other fish tanks. Very difficult sometimes, but you know, how many tools do you want to have? You know, do you want to have one for every set of tanks? I guess the proper answer is yes. The financial side of it is no. A little difficult to keep everything. So I rinse everything really good. I let things dry out. I try not to contaminate these tanks, especially with having a few problems with the 34 and the 135 tank saltwater. I would be devastated if I had any issues transferring whatever's going on maybe in those other tanks. But this is the 90 gallon video, so let's pertain to the information here and focus on that. But the purpose of the video today was, of course, clean up the upper left the upper left rocks, took them out, cleaned them up, brushed them up, got rid of the zoanthids that were all over them. That kind of ugly. I got plenty of them. Now, those things are just going everywhere. If they had better colors in them, I think I would. The bottom one in the cherry bomb in the bottom is all closed up because I've been fooling around with the tank, and that one's real sensitive to that. It's just on a rock at this time, and I've separated it from the main display rocks. But however, those are really cool. So I don't know. I'd like to move some of those onto a different rock, and at some point maybe and start having those grow. Now they're really beautiful cherry bomb red, kind of like the Christmas trees in the middle of the tank there below the leather finger coral, and it would be kind of cool. The green polyps down at the bottom, star polyps, man, they just really pop, don't they? So I put some up behind the finger coral on that rock. I may see if I can get another piece of that from that rock and move it over to the new rocks over on the left hand side where Dory is, and maybe grow some of that over there. the green really pops. I'm not into the SPS because I don't dose the tank with a doser. So I'm not going to get into the SPS, at least definitely for this tank. Maybe in the future I might decide to try it and see what happens, but I got to spend more money, of course, get into the dosing dosing process, because it needs to be consistent. And if you're going to do it manually, it seemed to be unsuccessful for me in this 90 back in the future, or in the past. Oh Jesus, back in the past. Sorry, folks. Anyway, but look at the size of that toadstool, ladies and gentlemen. That thing was 1 inch in round. That thing has just gotten huge. I don't know what I'm going to do at some point. It hasn't outgrown my 90-gallon tank yet, but boy, it's sure getting awful big. Wow. I'm not sure. It would be a huge aqua change for that. I don't have another tank for it, so we'll continue to see what I can do about that one. But boy, I just hate to even mess with it. It's just beautiful. It's just not unfortunate yet, but I think it's going to outgrow my 90-gallon tank at some point, and I gotta have to make a decision on what I'm going to do with that guy. Maybe I can find somebody that can house that, and I'm not going to give it away cheap. So it'll be a huge difference in the tank. But for now, it's spectacular, and I never expected something like that, 1 inch in round, get that big like that. It was just a little tiny toadstool. So anyway, that's it for right now in the 90-gallon saltwater tank. This is Petaluminimo with another episode of the saltwater tank moving forward. On this note, peace.